Some of y'all around here in the comments thinking that I don't know Lady Gaga. Please, I've been listening to her since I was a preteen. Listen, Gaga and I went to high school together, and if you don't believe that, you can go to wikipedia.org.gov and you can fact check me. Wait, no.
Hey neighbor, welcome back to the channel. My name is John. Let's review LG8, the long-awaited 8th studio solo album by Lady Gaga, a pop icon at this point. Her 8th album is called Mayhem. It follows an album that came out during the pandemic, Chromatica, that was a bit divisive, if not a bit backwards. It's an album that saw Gaga re-embracing her dance pop roots, which was a cool throwback, but I really think Mayhem is the album where the Fame comparisons, the early years Gaga, is on point. I got bullied at my Christian high school for listening to Lady Gaga. It was not a thing that guys were supposed to do.
Also, another thing that annoys me is like, oh, you listen to Lady Gaga? Seriously, Lady Gaga? You listen to that? And stuff like that. Not just Lady Gaga, like, what else have I got on here? Let's try Britney. Got Britney Spears. Uh-oh. Oh, you're so gay. John, you listen to Britney Spears. Just because you enjoy good music. And to me, I mean, other people, yeah, I can understand. They don't like it. But just because you don't like some sort of music doesn't mean you have to judge someone else.
But fortunately, I had a few friends in my camp that actually agreed with me. The Fame was a very important album, and one of the things that made it great was the fact that it was a bit eclectic and unpredictable as far as range and style went. That is where Mayhem not only succeeds and shakes hands with her past, it's also an update and an improvement to the Chromatica era sound, just a little bit more synth pop and a little bit more focused on cohesion. But we're not here to relive the past, and neither is Gaga, despite some of the sonic nods. These are different producers, Circuit, Watt, primarily working alongside Gaga to bring this album to life. This is most definitely meant to be a danceable album, something that gets you moving, and not every track might be club heaven, but at the same time, there's plenty of material here, especially in the first half, to really have me kind of chomping at the bit for more. It's almost unfortunate how good that first run is. The first single, Disease, why was that not a smash single, chart-topping globally? We have failed as a society if we don't see that as a dark pop masterpiece. That is all I'm saying. It set the bar high as the lead single, of course, including Die With A Smile with Bruno Mars, because it won all the Grammys and of course has like 2 billion streams on Spotify alone. They've gotta include it for the first week numbers for Mayhem. If the world was ending, I'd wanna be next to you. That is not in any way a criticism of Die With A Smile. It's just a song that was intended as a standalone and was not built for the project Mayhem, so of course it's gonna come out sounding a little different when you've got this 60s, 70s throwback pop style. In the past 10 years, that's been a big trend. Of course, the label wants you to add that on. I remember seeing it for the first time, like Hotline Bling, Drake adding that on to Views, but I will say, with Die With A Smile, it coming at the end of the album after a song like Blade of Grass, which is a very confessional, heart-spilling ballad where she's talking about her partnership with her fiance, it just kind of feels like an afterthought tacked on for streaming, and that's exactly what it unfortunately is. The first half of this album, specifically that 6-track run that begins with Disease up through Killah with Gestafelstein, what an unrivaled pop prowess Gaga is showing on full display. Garden of Eden is vintage Gaga. It has one of the most fun pop hooks I've heard in quite some time, definitely of 2025. Vanish Into You has some really memorable vocals from Gaga. Perfect Celebrity has a lot of that kind of campy energy that does remind me of the Fame. Abracadabra is maximalist AF, and I love how in your face and unapologetically club heavy it is. It's track 6, Killah, that became one of my favorites on Mayhem for the fact that the blueprint is pretty different. To me, this doesn't sound like any territory that Gaga has previously covered, and with her collaborators pushing her further into this kind of brighter, contrasting sound with the darkness lying in wait underneath, it's a great pairing that works out astonishingly well. I've been talking so much about this first half run, that's because there is a noticeable drop-off in the back half, and that starts with Zombieboy. This is not a bad song, it's just a lot more generic. It reminds me lyrically of something that she would have put out in her early 20s on an album like The Fame, and I think of cringier tracks from that record like Paper Gangsta that I just never come back to, even if I'm listening to the full album. We're gonna hit skip on through that. By no means is Zombieboy to that level, but that and LoveDrug coming right after, I mean, come on, that is one of my biggest pet peeves. That is one of the biggest tropes in music. Your love, it's like a drug, and we got the sequel to Love Game that nobody asked for. Domineering powerhouse vocals come through on The Beast, which is easily one of my top 3 on this album. Gaga's strength and perseverance is seen on full display on this record, with the production matching her immaculate drive. You can really feel the conviction and emotion in The Beast. It's a song that really has everything firing on every cylinder. Some of the problems that it has are relatively minor and usually pop up in the way of lack of ingenuity or the fact that it feels like she's stalled out a bit in terms of ideas on how to move Mayhem forward. It's a 53-minute runtime, and you do feel that in certain corners, but I'd argue that her and her collaborators on the instrumentation, which is generally pretty excellent throughout, I'm talking sharp percussion, really cool standout guitar moments that strut, and even some deep-seated bass that really just makes things groove. Mayhem just can't seem to sit still, and it's better for it. Whether she's riding into the night over some delectable synths on How Bad Do You Want Me, teaming up with Gestafelstein on Killah, a track that somehow sounds like Daft Punk and St. Vincent had a baby through the surrogate Lady Gaga, and were living the American Horror Story season in the song. Killah. Overall, I think the strengths definitely outweigh its weaknesses. This is an album that's loaded with bangers, and I'm gonna give this a light 4 out of 5. Let me know your thoughts on Lady Gaga's Mayhem in the comments down below, and hit that like button if you enjoyed my review. Keep in mind this was all just my opinion. Share yours in the comments. You can check out more of my Lady Gaga content on screen, and I'll see you next time on Beyond ARTV.